Hey, thanks for coming out. Obviously, credit to Hofstra. They're good. Cruz Davis, especially, you get 32 points in 40 minutes on 19 shots. He's playing at NBA level. Thought for the most part our defense was pretty good. I thought our effort was good. Just we had some turnovers end of the half, and obviously we're struggling to put the ball in the basket. At some point we've got to be able to put the ball in the basket enough.
I feel like Dylan's pressing right now.
I mean, I'm sure he's pressed, and he's a good player, and you want him to stay aggressive. That's not a typical shooting night for him, right? So he's certainly not trying to miss. Thought he held on to it a little long on a couple, but he's trying to get going. Honestly, I've told those two guys all week. I want them to stay ultra aggressive. I want them to shoot the ball. I believe in them. Keep shooting the ball. I'm going to keep telling them the same thing. I mean, they make shots, we'll be pretty good. We got some good minutes from Coleman and Womack. We fought foul trouble a lot at the 5 spot, which didn't help us. But those two guys, they got a big. So I thought our guys battled pretty good downstairs with them.
What do you think is making you guys disjointed?
I don't know. Disjointed is not a word I would use. I mean, we haven't made shots. Our field goal percentage and our three, we did a better job making threes. But we haven't made shots. We came into this 35 from the field and 22 from 3. It just puts a lot of pressure on you. And we've got two guys that are good players that you want to stay aggressive and stay confident. And if we're sitting here today and he was 11 for 19, then everyone was going to want to know if he could come in the room and give him his flowers and all that good stuff. And the same thing if Tyler was 12 for 20, right? But I mean, I think for us, we've got to continue to evaluate shot selection. But those are guys historically that take 2-point shots in the mid-range. They're a little bit outliers analytically. So these aren't like guys I don't know anything about. They did it last year, so I think I don't think it's good coaching to tell good players to stop taking shots. We just we got to get them going. I think it's as simple as sometimes maybe they're trying to hit the ball out of the park versus just making contact, and hopefully that changes. But they want to win. They're working hard. I mean, there hasn't been a day where those guys don't get in extra work. So it is a little bit of a make or miss game right now. I thought, usually if we could hold people to 42% and, hold our own on the glass, which we did, we usually find our way. Right now, with those two things are decent, and then we're not scoring the ball. I mean, we're going to have a hard time if two guys that are all league players go 8 for 39. I mean, that's just reality.
When you at this point 0-4 in the conference, what do you see from your players, and what do you think of this is kind of new territory for this group that's been?
We had a bad 6 days last week, so we just talked to them. 6 days can't define you. I think the challenge from a coach's standpoint is making sure we focus on execution and working hard. There's no, what did Winston Churchill say? If you're going through hell, keep going. I mean, that's the deal. There is no one's going to give you anything in the league. I thought this was a great opportunity today because they're not overly deep. They don't play a lot of guys, that it would be a kind of a grinded out slugfest, which it was. And like I said, I believe in a couple of our guys. I mean, I'm sure he's feeling pretty good. You get a guy who's playing like Player of the Year, he gets you 32. That's usually takes you to pay dirt, right? I mean, so I believe these guys. We'll get there. We got a quick turnaround, and that's the league. Usually Thursday, Saturday, and get back in. We've clearly dug ourselves a hole. I think our guys are aware of that, but I want them to focus on execution, so that you can't win 4 in a row. You got to win 1 in a row, and then try to go from there.
At that point, a few times your guys showed some frustration out there. Obviously, how do you keep them in the right mindset to just take it one day at a time?
Yeah, we talk a lot about what's it take to break you. I said that, what does it take to break you? Bad call, frustration, bad substitution, someone misses you. I mean, I think for me with young men that want to do this for a long time, if you miss a shot, you got to keep playing. Everyone knows that you missed a shot. You don't need to bring any extra attention to that. Just move on and get to the next play. It'll happen with those guys. Like I said, for me, I'd probably focus on some improvements we've seen from Womack and Coleman, and if we can get a couple other guys going and maybe stay out a little. I'm going to be equally upset at we've had a couple silly fouls at the 5 spot. That's more coaching, making sure we have good habits, like getting a lot of penalties on illegal motion. Like we can't have those type of things, and then have guys that we need on the floor sitting because they commit silly fouls. The missing shots. Like I said, I want those 2 guys to score the ball. That's what they do. Would I like them to make more shots? Well, yeah, obviously, but they're not trying to miss. If they do, we're having a whole different conversation, right? The feds are here and worrying what's going on.
How's Doobie doing?
So he's got pneumonia, man. He had it, probably for a while. He's been fighting through it. He basically was toast after a tough practice Monday. He was fighting it last week, so yeah, we gotta get him healthy, gotta get him back. But we had enough guys to get the job done today.
How do you get Sack to stay on the floor?
Well, I think I just talked about it. He'll do a better job. He had 2 or 3 on hand stuff where he's got to play up there. We've been better statistically when he has been on the floor. But today that was that didn't help us.
Griffin, do you want one?
We know you guys are capable of rattling off, win after win after win. What's the first thing that's got to change on Saturday?
Well, we have to try to take care of the ball, win on the glass, and then obviously got to make some shots. But I want those guys to keep taking shots. I think they're proven scorers. One thing I've told them this week, I don't want you looking over at me. I'm not going to play you less. I'm not going to tell you to shoot less. Stay aggressive. Trust your work. Be confident.
Do you think the money has made it harder for them to do that, the star guys, to do it? Because it's
I don't think it did it, Dylan, for like a Kansas or Houston. I think like anything, if one guy was like 11 for 20 today, maybe maybe you can absorb some of that. But I don't think it's like anything. I don't. They're good workers and good guys. And there's expectations. We all have expectations. So I'm not gonna go in there and tear them up and tell them I've never been one of these guys. Hey, you got to make a shot. I think that's that's kind of obvious. Yeah, and with those guys, they are tough shot makers. So I don't want them thinking about them. I want them to. I said, like Davis takes some tough shots for them. He knocked him down, and that's why he's right now the player of the year in the league. If our guys can knock down a couple shots like that, I think what you worry about as a coach, make sure they're reading the game. I thought Tyler drove a couple when he should have shot it, and you want him to just kind of relax and trust his work.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.